Okay, guys, this one to my review for the movie The Notebook. I really liked The Notebook. I thought it was a really good story. I think what I enjoyed the most about it was probably the chemistry of the actors in this movie. I think they were very well together, and I think this movie was just fun. It was just fun to see these two people really belong to each other, find each other, fall in love, find each other, fall in love. Where it just follows a classic story, and sometimes following a classic, not trope, but a classic story of two people, falling in love, and defying all the odds as they do it. That's a classic trope in a lot of romance films, and not just trope, but motif and all that stuff. But when it's done good, and you can't help yourself, and it's done good. Just typically, very, funny at times, sad at times, heartwarming times, and a lot of these great romance films. It's just satisfying to see them end up together. And then it was sad at the end. When you see like she's in her, she think back to the 2004s and to the early 2000s. This girl would have been in like her 80s, 90s. So yeah, I mean, she's old. She's battling her memory loss and all that stuff, and it's so interesting to see kind of like the different flashes of back and forths, and I honestly thought when that the Notebook was about like these romance people, but like they were like documenting it in a notebook. But it turns out like the whole idea of the notebook is actually comes back in present day, where like they're reading the notebook that they wrote, and it's nice to see it kind of all come together at the end, and it was well directed too. Yeah, and obviously some great performances. So overall, I thought it was a really charming little movie that I mean, a little movie. I mean, a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people love it, and well, there's still quotable lines that you hear all the time, and you're like, oh, that's where that comes from. Because there were some lines where you hear line, and you're like, yeah, that's where it comes from. The Notebook. So yeah, I'm trying to think of any negatives that come to mind. I guess the one question mark I have is like, where are they getting this information from? Because like the whole idea is that he's reading a notebook that he created, but it's not only shown from Noah's perspective. So I'm wondering if they wrote the notebook together, like maybe a couple years after they got married or whatever, they decided to make a notebook, and they to get together took all the information they have of those events and create a notebook together, because you see from both perspectives. So it's not like it couldn't have just been Noah writing the notebook. It had to be both. Otherwise, that's somewhat of a question mark. But yeah, I mean, overall, really enjoyed it. I guess what would I have to say my favorite part was? It's the part of the scene where it's like when they figure out that they're meant to be, and that's kind of like the nail in the coffin to not being together. I was like, we're gonna be together, and like the quotable line, it's like, um, it's not over or whatever, something like that. What was it? It's like, it's like over or whatever, and he's like, it's not over or whatever. I don't know, something like that you hear a lot. Anyways, stay tuned for videos coming right at you.